Good evening. The time is 6:30 p.m. Today is Tuesday, March 28th. I would like to call this Impact Fee Advisory Committee meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Dibble,
Here.
Delory, Mata,
Here.
Onken,
Here.
Garrett,
Here.
Stiegel,
Here.
James,
Here.
Chase.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Next, item number 3, minutes. Approval of, we have 3A, approve the meeting minutes for March 16th, 2023.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
motion to approve item 3A.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Vice Chair Shea, seconded by Commissioner James. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion passes. Item number 4, citizen comments. At this time, any members of the public that would like to speak may come up now. Seeing none, I will close citizen comments. Item number 5, consider impossible action. 5A, discuss and approve amended impact fee report. Grady Reed.
That I wanted to answer, since I don't think we really answered those fully at the last meeting. One of those questions pertained to the growth rate that we're using in the impact fee model. We're using 5% a year. We had city billing staff went back and pulled the number of total water meters within the system, both inside the city and in the ETJ, over the last 5-year period. And if we look at the average annual growth rate there, it's 5.63%. That ranges from a high of about 7.5% to a low of 4.5%. If we look at that on a yearly change. So we feel that the 5% is about right for this, unless y'all tell us otherwise. There was also a question related to using an inflation rate on the projects and moving those forward. The project costs that we're using are both the original cost plus additional monies that was requested by the city's engineering department for some other add-ons to those projects. Those projects also include a contingency fee. Anytime that you're doing price estimates for projects on an engineering side, you normally include a 35% contingency fee on those projects. It's normally just for cost overruns. However, in today's inflationary environment, that could account for some inflation of those costs over time. Most of these projects are planned to be constructed in a relatively short time frame from now, like 3 to 4 years out. So I would normally say that inflation would be minimal, but in today's environment, who knows? It could be minimal, it could not be minimal. Our hope is that that contingency fee would help to offset some of the inflationary cost. As a matter of doing impact fee studies, Chapter 395 doesn't really say one way or the other whether or not you can inflate project cost and move them forward. Typically, these studies do not do that. They just keep those project costs in current dollars because the remedy is if we're in a high inflationary environment and you think these costs are going to come in much higher than what we've planned, then you don't have to wait and redo this study every 5 years. You can do it every 3 years or 2 years, or you can do it every year if you really wanted to. I would not recommend that, but you could. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's kind of how we're approaching it. I discussed that with city staff, and their recommendation right now is just to keep the projects at the cost that we have them in there, and then if we need to do this study 3 years, update the study 3 years from now, we can do that, and just kind of see what those project costs are going to be. We're starting to see some costs start coming back in below engineers' estimates on just some other construction costs. So we're hoping that kind of slows down a little bit. Is there any questions on either of those two items before I get to anything else?
Any questions? Okay.
We did make a couple of changes to the report. Just so you know, a couple of those were very minor. We added in these sentences to the first paragraph in section 2 and the second paragraph in section 2. And this was just due to a comment that the city does serve water and or wastewater to some areas outside of its ETJ. And so we just want to make that abundantly clear in this report, and to let future customers that happen to be outside of the ETJ know that the city can extend water and wastewater impact fees to them through contract, should that service arrangement arise. The other change that we made was in how we were handling the debt for the Alliance Regional Water Authority. And there was nothing wrong with the way that we had it in there, but just going back and looking at that debt and then how we were handling that compared to some similar types of expenses in the impact fee model, we basically went back, and instead of taking a 20-year chunk of that debt, we took a 10-year chunk of that debt and changed the allocation factors a little bit. By doing that, that did result in the total impact fee coming down. The water impact fee was reduced to $7,984 per LUE. That was really just on the water supply and on the water treatment sections of the impact fee. Nothing else changed, and nothing changed on the wastewater side. So the total impact fee with that change would be $14,155 per LUE. Again, this change was discussed with city staff, and we talked about it, and we were all in agreement that this was probably the better way to handle this debt, just to make sure that we're consistent in our calculations. The other tables were updated as well within the report to reflect that change. So this is what the impact fee table looks like now. And again, the reductions were on the water supply side and the water treatment side due to that change. So that's all that I have to present to y'all tonight. I'm here to answer questions, let y'all discuss the report, and then if y'all so choose to approve the report and or make a recommendation to City Council that they adopt an effective impact fee of anywhere between 0 and the maximum fee that they can adopt.
Thank you. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I have a question for city staff. We just talked about the debt allocation, and basically we just said that the agreement was that it was a better way, and I was just curious, like why that is. Can we speak to that a little bit in the public hearing
So
or public forum?
city staff can add on, and I can answer that as well. You do have something similar in your impact fee model. It's not a future project, but it's a current supply with GBRA, because the city has a contract with GBRA, and we can roll those contract costs, at least the debt portion of those contract costs, into your impact fee under the existing water supplies. We were really only looking at 10 years worth of debt on that GBRA contract. And on the Alliance contract, which was a future water supply, we were looking at the next 20 years worth of debt, and then we were taking some portion of that and allocating it to the 10-year cost. We thought it would just be much cleaner to follow the same rules that we're following with GBRA and just look at the next 10 years worth of debt for the Alliance cost and assign 100% of that cost to this impact fee. It kind of takes out an assumption over how much of that project is going to be utilized over the next 10 years. So that's my response. If staff wants to add more, they can, or if that answered your question.
Thank you. Any other questions or any discussion?
I do have one quick question. It's referencing specific tables. I don't have the actual report in front of me. What are tables 6A, 7, 8, and 9?
Table 6A is the cost allocation table. So that's where the change was actually made. Table 7 calculates the rate credit portion. And anytime we change cost, that also impacts the rate credit.
Okay.
And then table 9 is the comparison table comparing this maximum impact fee to other cities' impact fees.
Okay. So I just want to confirm 6A, where the allocation factor has changed from 75 to 100. Does that mean that the current impact fee estimate is assuming that those costs would be paid off in a 10-year period?
Yes.
Okay,
There is a little bit of rate credit involved in that, but generally speaking, yes.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, currently, we reevaluate this every 5 years, is that correct?
By state law, you have to reevaluate it every 5 years. You can do it more frequently than that.
Okay, thank you. So that's something else we should consider when if we make a recommendation, should we make a recommendation to then revisit this at a certain time point as well? And if we were to make a motion, if we were to recommend, in the motion, should we say the total for water, the total for wastewater that we recommend? Should we do it separately?
For clarification, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, yeah, before I make a motion, does anyone have a thought about the years? Would you think that a 3-year time period might be a better time frame to revisit this due to things changing so rapidly? Okay,
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
if we assume a growth of 5% plus a year, I think it would be reasonable to revisit this in 3 years, so that we can indeed stay on top of this issue.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion then. I'd like to make a motion to recommend to City Council to set the impact fee rate for water as $7,984, the impact fee for wastewater as $6,171, for a total of $14,155, and make the recommendation to come back and reevaluate this impact fee in 3 years. There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's a motion by myself, seconded by Commissioner Stiegel. Is there any discussion on that? Well, first off, staff, was that clear enough of a motion? Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion on that motion? Yes, sir. Vice Chair Chase.
So I feel like we may have jumped a step here. I believe originally the intent was for planning and zoning, or for the impact fee advisory committee, to approve just the report.
I do need y'all to make a motion to approve the report as amended.
And then the second part of that was, if we so choose, we could make a recommendation that they approve the fee.
Yes.
Okay. I would not support the current motion. I would prefer council go through the exercise and set the fees and not set a recommendation. That's where I sit on that side. And once we go to another motion for I'll discuss on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other discussion on the current motion? Also, if you do want to make an amendment to the motion, that is, you can do that as well. Okay. No other discussion. Can we do a roll call vote?
Dipple,
Yes.
Mata,
Yes.
Ankin,
Yes.
Guerra,
Aye.
Stiegel,
Aye.
James,
Nay.
Chase.
No.
Okay. Motion passes 5-2. Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion on the report?
With a motion?
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the report as amended.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Chase, seconded by moved by Commissioner James, seconded by Vice Chair Chase. Is there any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Is there any other motions, anything else anyone would like to do before we move to the next? Okay. Item number 6, adjournment. I'd like-
I was just going to.
Please, go ahead.
Very quickly, Mr. Chairman, just so y'all know, we were planning on April 4th, this says present the committee report to council, that we will not really present this report to council on the 4th, but we will go before council on the 4th and recommend that they ask for them to set a public hearing date. We're anticipating that public hearing date to be May 16th. At that point, we will present this, and we'll basically present the same information that we've walked through with y'all over the last couple of months in that public hearing. And then council may choose to take action that same night.
Great, thank you. Oh, also, for those that did vote nay, if there's, usually the council will ask, why that was, and I know that, Vice Chair Chase, you did speak up. If there's anything else you would like staff to relay in that situation, they probably would like to hear that, but if not, that's perfectly fine. We'll move forward. Okay. Item number 6, adjournment. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Thank you. It's been moved by myself, seconded by Commissioner Stiegel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.